Hi all. This video will be the continuation of chapter 2, that is lesson 2. In the previous video, we have seen how to solve inequalities and to graph them. So this is kind of continuation. So the lesson is about solving inequalities by adding or subtracting. Now, how do you solve inequalities by adding or subtracting? Same way how you would treat how you would solve an equation. So for a quick review, this was all done in detail in the previous video. If you have not watched, click the I card above and watch that video so that it will be helpful for you to understand the basics of inequalities. So these were the signs which we were using. The first one is lesser than, greater than, then lesser than or equal to, and then greater than or equal to. These four are the signs which we were dealing. This was an extra one, which is for information, which is known as not equal to, because the equal sign has been cancelled. So this is not equal to. Okay. Now also you remember the tips. If you would have watched in the previous video, there were some tips which I gave you. If the inequality is with greater sign, arrow points to the right. If the inequality is with less sign, arrow points to the left. Also, I told you how you can use the arrow to determine if it is lesser or greater. Then these are the way to graph an inequality. You start by drawing a circle on top of the number line and then drawing the arrow to the right or left. The circle will be shaded if the inequality shows lesser or greater sign. This is what we learned in the previous lesson. Also, now, did you know that you can solve any inequality just how you would solve an equation? Okay, this is what I have been I told you in the previous lesson too. Just solve it as how you would normally solve an equation, but only don't forget to replace the equal sign with the inequality sign or the one which the question has. But other than that, the solving steps are going to be the same. We are going to use the inverse operations to solve them. Okay, now let's look at one example. Here we have x plus 9 is less than 15, which means we have to solve this inequality for x. We need to make it x is less than. So to do that, we need to, of course, remove the 9. So plus 9 becomes minus 9 when it moves to the other side. So that means 15 minus 9 is going to give you x is less than 6. So how do you graph this inequality in the number line? You start from 6, draw a circle above 6. Now don't shade it because it does not show the equal sign. And this means x is less than 6, which means x can be 5, x can be 4, it can be any number less than 6. So which side do these numbers show in the number line? To the left. So you draw the arrow to the left. Isn't it easy? Just you learned that in the previous lesson. It's the same. So solve inequality and graph the solution here. Now this again is d is negative 3 is greater than negative 6, which means you need to remove the negative 3 to solve the inequality for d. So d is going to be greater than negative 6 plus 3. How did it become plus 3? Because it was onto this side of the inequality, so we need to add 3. So negative 6 plus 3 will give you a negative 3. So d is greater than negative 3. How would you solve in a graph this? In the number line, you put the circle on negative 3. And this means d can be any number greater than negative 3. So it can be 1, it can be 2. So which side do these numbers show in the number line? To this side. So from negative 3, you draw it to the right. Now, do you shade the circle? No, because negative 3 is not the solution. Any number greater is the solution, but negative 3 is not. So we leave it empty. So this is what all your lesson was about, because it won't be a difficult one as you've had enough practice for the previous lesson as well. So I think let's look at some questions which we could do. Okay, so let's start doing this. This is, if you feel this is easy, do pause the video here. Start to do the questions by yourself, and then you can check the answer once you have finished, and you can play the video. So better you pause it here and give it a try. Well, if you would have given a try, then this is how you need to be solving it. Okay, so this 2 is less than p plus 6, which means to remove this plus 6, we bring it to here, this side, so that it becomes 12 minus 6 is less than p. So 12 minus 6 is going to give you a 6 less than p, which means p can be any number greater than 6. So remember I told you keep the variable always in front so that it's easy for us to interpret the numbers. So p is greater than 6. It's easy for us to read it like this than this. So p can be any number greater than 6 because 6 is less than p. 6 is less than p means p should be a number bigger than 6, right? So 6 is less than p means p can be 7, 8, 9, any number. So how are you going to graph this number, this inequality? All you need to do is first start by drawing a circle on 6. Then you need to decide the arrow. The arrow will point to the right or to the left from the circle. So as we know now, p is greater than 6, which means it can be 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's all onto this side, so which means your arrow should be pointing to the right. Or because the way I told you last in the previous video, you can even use this arrowhead to compare it with the sign. The sign and the arrowhead should be in the same direction. Is it going to be shaded? Of course not, because it does not have the equal sign. Let's go to question number 2 and 3. Now give it a try. Do give it a try. There is nothing wrong if you make mistake. You will learn not to do the mistake again. So better pause the video, try to do it by yourself, and then check your answer if it is correct or not. Now if you have paused the video and if you have done the questions, well, that's a very good job, very good try. Let's discuss the answers. So here it's going to be W is greater than or equal to 4 minus 3, because to remove this plus 3 we need to minus it, right? So that's going to give you W is less than or equal to 1. Now this is the number line. I kept it here because that space wouldn't have been okay. So this is the number line for question number 2. Okay, so W is greater or equal to 1, which means W is a number greater than 1 or equal to 1. So W can be 1. So what are the numbers greater than 1? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all these. Now, am I going to shade this circle? Yes, I am, because it says 1 can be, because it says W equal to 1. Greater or equal to, so which means it can be 1 too. So from there, we draw the line, arrow right to the right side. And don't forget to put the arrow sign as greater. Right? Now, you need to know if you're showing lesser, definitely your arrow is not going to be like this. Right? It's not going to be with the greater sign. We have never learned any such kind of arrows. So you can use the arrowhead to find the signs. This is going to be negative 5 plus x is less than or equal to negative 20, which means we need to remove this negative 5. So what we are going to do for the negative 5? We are going to add 5. So x is less than or equal to negative 20 plus 5. So does that give us a negative 15? Yes, because it's negative and negative 20 is greater. So 1 is positive and 1 is negative. So x is going to be less than negative 15. How am I going to graph this? Okay, so here I don't have negative 15. So let me just change these numbers. No problem. So here it's 5. Let me make this as negative 5 and then this as negative 10. This as negative 15, this as negative 20. Now, as I have told you previously, you really do not need to worry about the number line, as the number line in your quizzes or exams will be given to you. Okay, so ignore these red numbers because that's not the correct number line. So this is question number 3. We are only concerned with this numbers written in black, and we do not need this part also. So this is going to be x is less than or equal to negative 15, which means I will draw the circle on negative 15. Now it can be negative 15 because there's an equal sign. So I shade 15, negative 15. Now which side should the arrow be pointing to? Any number less than negative 15 or 15. So less than negative 15 is going to be negative 20, negative 21, any number less than negative 15. So it's all shown to the left of the number line. So we just draw it to the left, the arrow. As you can see, the sign and the arrow head is the same. Fine. Let's move to question number 8. So this question says 2.5 is greater than q minus 0.8. So here q minus 0.8 means we need to remove it, so that becomes a plus 0.8. So 2.5 plus 0.8 is greater than q, which means how much is 2.5 plus 0.8? That's going to give you a 3.3 is greater than q. So remember, I told you keep the variable in front. So that's going to be, which means q can be any number less than 3.3. So less than 3.3 means 3 is here. So 3.3 is somewhere very near to 3. Okay, not even like in the half. It's almost like here, very near to the 2. Now, am I going to shade it? Definitely, I'm not going to shade it. Don't think it's shaded. It's not shaded, but as I cannot draw a smaller line than a smaller circle than that, okay, so it's not shaded because we cannot shade it as there is no equal sign. So it has to be q is lesser than lesser than 3.3. So it needs to move to the left. L for lesser, L for left. It moves to the left, which means q can be any number in this area which the arrow is moving on. Q can be negative 5, Q can be negative 2, any number. Fine, here comes a fraction. So r plus 1/4 is less than or equal to 3 over 4, which means r is going to be less than or equal to 3 over 4 minus 1 over 4, which means r is going to be less than or equal to 2 over 4. Now, if you look at this, definitely you will know that we need to simplify them. It's not correct. So, if you simplify with 2, you're going to get half, which means r is less than or equal to half. Now, where is half in the number line? Where does half come? Half comes between, right, 0 and 1. So, half is here. Okay. I'm trying to write a small circle to here, right? Now, am I going to shade it? Yes, I am, because it says r is equal to half also. So it can be equal, so I shade it. Now, less than half, which means it can be 0, it can be negative 1, any number less than 0. So we are going to draw it to the side because it says less than. So this is how the inequality will be graphed for this question. Right, now away from all this, let's look at these questions. Write an inequality to represent each statement. Solve the inequality and graph the solution. Now, I'm not going to show you how to graph here because we have done enough of graphing, but you know, you need to do it as you need practice. So you can graph. But I will only show you how to write the inequality and solve it. So here they said 10 less than. Now, you must be familiar with these words less than, which means it is minus, right? So 10 less than a number x. So they are saying some number x. So there is 10 and x is always this is stands for equal to, okay, greater than 32. So here, because we are dealing with inequalities, here comes an inequality is greater than, so greater than is the greater sign, 32. So how are you going to write this inequality now? First, concentrate on this part of the question, the one before is 10 less than a number. So how are you going to write this 10 less than a number? If I write 10 less than a number, 10 minus x, do you think this is going to be right? Is this 10 less than a number? No, it's not. It's 10 minus x, which is x less than 10. So they said 10 less than a number, which means it is going to be x minus 10, because they're using the word less than, which means less than some number. So 10 less than some number is greater than 32. Well, now you must be very well fluent, like doing how to solve inequalities. So simply it's going to be x is greater than 32 plus 10, which is going to give you x is greater than 42. And you need to graph this, draw your number line, start the number line with 40 and finish it with 50, and then draw where this shows. You know well what to do. Let's move to this question. A number n increased by. Now, what does this word increase by means? Plus. Now, as I told, this is means it acts like a separation between the two sides of the inequality. Okay, so if there is s means this part is going to be one side of the equation inequality. This is going to be another side of the inequality. Okay, so a number n increased by 6 is less than or equal to. So less than or equal to 4, which means a number n increased by 6 is, now after is means that there should be the inequality, right? Less than or equal to 4. And this is how you interpret the words. Remember, is like a separation between the two parts of the question. Okay, so is means this part is one part of the one side of the inequality. This is going to be the other side of the inequality. So how do you solve this? N is less than or equal to 4 minus 6. So n is less than or equal to a negative 2, because it's 4 minus 6. You're subtracting two numbers, but the bigger number has negative sign, so it's n is less than or equal to negative 2. Now don't forget to graph them. Do graph them, and because it's important that you graph them. Right, now that you have understood how to graph and how to write the inequalities, let's look at some problem solving questions. Now for problem solving, well, they're going to be easy, but you need to read the questions a bit. That's all. Okay, so this is the same part of the lesson. Okay. Now, the question says, the memory in Tinia's camera phone allows her to take up to 20 pictures. So Tinia can take up to 20, which means she can take 20 or less. She cannot take 21 because the phone doesn't allow her to, right? So it says 20 up to 20, which means she can take 20 or she can take 18 or less than 20. Tinia has already taken 16 pictures. So already she has taken 16. Now by using, logic, we could say that she can take 4 more pictures because she has taken 6 and she has to take 4 more. But then they are saying here, write, solve and graph an inequality to show how many more pictures Tinia could take. So we are going to write an inequality. Now, what is the inequality going to be? Yes, these are the important information. Tinia can take up to or at most 20 pictures. Just now I explained she can take 20 or less than 20. She has already taken 16. There's another information. So let P represent the remaining number of pictures Tinia can take. So we don't know how many more Tinia can take. We know because it's an easy number, right? We know she can take 4 more, but then it has to be a proof. You have to do it properly in a mathematical way. So we say we don't know. So let the P be the number of photos she can take more. So this is how you write 16 plus the number of photos which we can take more should be less than or equal to 20 because she cannot take more than 20. So it should be equal to 20 or less than 20. Now, well, you know now how to solve the inequality. I don't need to guide you here at all. It's going to be P is less than or equal to 4, which means she can take 4 more photos or less than 4. This is how you write inequalities problem solving. Easy, right? So I think let's try out some questions. Let's see. Um, all right. This question says, a local restaurant will deliver food to your house if the purchase amount of your order is at least $25. So they will deliver you only if you buy food for $25 or more. At least. At least means the minimum. Means at least you should buy for $25. If you buy for $24, they won't give you delivery. If you buy for $20, also they will not give you delivery. So if you want food to deliver, you should at least buy for 25. What does this mean? That means your order should be $25 or more than 25 if you want delivery. And if I was in that place, I would go to the restaurant and eat. Okay. The total for parts of your order is $17.95. So you have ordered something for $17.95. Write and solve an inequality to determine how much more you must spend for the restaurant to deliver your order. So you have bought something for 17.95, but you want the restaurant to deliver it to you. Will they deliver it at this amount for the amount which you bought for 17.95? Definitely not, because you must buy for at least 25, only then you will order. So the question is like, how much more should you order to get the delivery? Okay, so let's write the inequality. Now the question says how much more must you spend? So it's talking about money. So let's keep it as M. Okay, so let's say let M be the more money you need to pay, or the cost of the extra cost. Okay, so this is going to be 17.95, which you already ordered. Okay, plus you have to order some more. So let that be M. Now this amount should be equal to, it should be equal to or greater than 25. This is what they want. So you have for 17.95, you have to order some more to get it to 25. So it should be equal to 25 or greater than 25. So this is going to be N is greater or equal to 25. That says 25.00 because we're dealing with money. Yes, so money needs two decimal places. So $25.00 minus $17.95. So I think you know by now how to align the decimals in the numbers. Because when you're working with decimals, you need to take an extra step of caution. So this is going to be 10 and 9. This is going to be 30, right? This is going to be 5, 0, and 7. So M should be, that is, you need to order for at least $7.05 or more than that. So that's what this inequality says. You need to order for at least $7.05 or more than that. Let's do one more. Now, if you can, do pause the video, try out this question. If you get it right, well, that's well done. So better you pause the video, read the question well, and do it, and then you can play the video again to check your answers. Well, hopefully you would have tried it by yourself. I hope that you would try. So if you would have tried, then check the answer. The gas tank in Mindy's car holds at most 15 gallons. So in the car, you know that there is a certain amount you can put gas into the car. right? You cannot put extra than that. Every car has its own tank where the capacity is written. So Mindy's car can hold at most, it means the maximum it can hold is 15 gallons. So can she fill 16 gallons into the car? Of course not, because it says 15. So the gas she puts should be equal to 15, right? It should be equal to 15, or it can be less than 15, because she cannot put more than 15. Her car's tank won't allow that. She has already filled the tank with 7 gallons of gas. So she has already filled with 7 gallons of gas, and she will continue to fill it with G gallons more. So she has already filled 7 and she will keep filling. Write and solve an inequality that shows all values of G that Mindy can add to the car's tank. So Mindy has already put 7 and she's keeping on filling. So keeping on filling, that does that denote plus or minus? If she's keeping on putting, that's plus. How many gallons? G. Now, should it be greater or equal to or less than or equal to 15? It should be less than or equal to 15. Why is that? It cannot be greater because her car can hold only 15. So it can either be equal to 15 or less than 15. So once you have written the inequality, now I'm 100% sure the solving is very easy for you. So G is going to be less than or equal to 8. So which means Mindy can fill another 8 gallons or less than 8 gallons for the tank. Right. Now, let's try out this question because it's a little bit different one. So here it says x plus 3 over 5 is less than 7, which means to remove this, you need to do the opposite. So plus will become minus. So that means x is less than 7 minus 3 over 5. Now, you know that when you have a fraction, you need to have a denominator. If there is no denominator, you need to give the denominator, right? So this is going to be x is less than, can I just subtract it how it is? Like 7 minus 3 is 5, 1 minus 5. I can't, because I cannot solve in fractions unless the denominators are same. So to make the denominators the same, I am going to multiply both of them with 5. Any number which might make them equal. So 5, if I multiply by 5, that will make both of them equal. So this is going to be 35 over 5 minus 3 over 5. So this is going to be x is less than or equal to 32 over 5. Because 35 minus 3 is 32. 5 minus 5 we do not do for fractions, so the denominator remains the same. Now this is an improper fraction. To change it to a proper fraction, it's going to be x is less than or 2 over 5. Now what we have to do is we have to divide this 32 by 5 to change it to a mixed number. So this will give you 4. So the quotient is written as a whole number, the remainder is written as the numerator, and the denominator remains the same. So x is less than 4, 2 over 5. So hopefully you can try this question by yourself too, because they are quite easy. This is how you add and subtract inequalities. So this was all your lesson. Try some more word problems by yourself. There are enough word problems in your book. All what I can say is keep practicing. That's the only way to become perfect in math. There is no memorizing or no shortcuts to be perfect in math. Only practice makes you perfect. So till we meet in another video, keep practicing.